Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. This is Earthside Reverie, where we get together to try to fix the things that are not broken. Today, I am joined by my co-hostess with the mostest, the man who has 8 jobs but only gets paid for 2. It is my friend Xavier.
Can I have some money, please?
No.
Aww.
No, you are not allowed. And also to my right is another very good friend of mine. He has joined us from the brink of death, ladies and gentlemen. For no other reason. It's not like it was important to his family or anything like that. He's here just for this because he's like that. The proprietor of Chibi Comics, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Murphy.
Gentlemen, happy to be here. I was told this was a paying gig.
It's okay. Don't worry about that. We'll get to that later.
Details.
Today we have been graced to have a job at the world-famous Daily Planet, a newspaper of good rapport. Apparently, they're having a problem with their printing press, and I've heard if we're on certain floors, we might see some famous people.
I don't know. I read this. I've read this paper, and I don't see anybody noticeable.
Nobody at all.
Nobody at all. Like, I think that this Lane woman gets a lot of headlines, but I don't think she's that important.
Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Lois Lane is not a good reporter. Trying to say
That was a Pulitzer.
Whatever it is, it's overrated.
Yeah,
so
it's probably rigged. It's probably rigged like the Grammys.
What you got to do is you got to get down there and you got to really pull it really hard. And that's just like the job we're going to do today. We got to get down there and really pull it hard.
Look, we will get right to work as soon as our break ends. Now, if they interrupt us on our break, we have to start our break over. We are entitled to an hour and a half of uninterrupted break time over the course of the entire job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're entitled to that twice. So.
We've checked in. We've checked in. I'm ready for lunch.
Yeah. Go ahead and everybody break out your lunch pails. Have you a nice cup of ramen or whatever.
I got the peanut butter and jelly. I wish I had some bread to go with it.
Damn. Are you just holding peanut butter and jelly in your hands right now?
Somehow, I will get these 2 things into my body. I just haven't decided how yet.
You got ham, no burger.
Somehow Xavier he's got cool and no aid. What in the world? You got to get one of those other 6 jobs paying you there, buddy. So
someday
you can actually, make ends meet.
That's why I've got this new investment thing that I'm working on. I'm playing the lottery.
Oh, okay. So I guess you're going with that investment. The more you put in, the more you should get out.
Oh yeah, I'm originally from a small town out in the country, so this is how we. I'm told this is how we invest in retirement.
Okay. Now you know you have to get those every week, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I can't just buy it once and then just let it ride?
No.
God damn it, this is getting harder all the time. You know how hard it was to pick all my numbers? I pick good numbers. Or numbers I think are good.
Now you can play those numbers every time. However, you have to pay every time to play those numbers.
A sound investment.
Yeah.
This deal's getting worse all the time. So what's wrong with these printers anyway?
I don't know. They said something about it's not working anymore. Apparently, they were brought over with the Mayflower, and they still don't know. It's harder to get parts for, so they're going to have to be fabricated. So this is probably going to end up being like a 3-day job.
Wait a minute. They have printers that predate the printing press? How the fuck?
Yeah.
What? How is this an international? How is this a national publication?
Perry White's very old-fashioned. Okay, he doesn't adhere to these newfangled things. He doesn't like the Webernet. He said you can't trust it. There's too many kooks out there. And I said coops.
You know, it doesn't help that he runs into the printing press every day and says stop the presses, and they have to press that big button. You do that enough times, the whole thing's going to break.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I think it's at least once or twice a day he says stop the presses.
Right.
And then you got that one guy, what's his name, Kent? Something like that. He just like runs off and doesn't finish his work. So that just holds up everything.
That does not sound like a very good employee. I don't think he's going to be here very long. But, I don't think so. But that's just, an outsider's opinion on, the employment staff of the people contracting us. It's got nothing to do with me.
No, we just got to make sure. Yeah, like, that's another thing. Apparently, the Daily Planet is known for the best headlines 2 weeks ago. Because, it takes that long to get the things printed and out on so apparently, they're still sending them out by courier pigeon.
My God.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes reliability does work. I mean, I guess, I from what I hear, this is just rumors and innuendo, so I don't know if it's exactly true or not, but I heard Perry White might be a doomer and a prepper.
No. He got one of those names.
The reason he doesn't embrace new technology is because it's another failure point. And he wants to make sure that the word gets out no matter what, even if it is old news by the time it does get out.
I would assume tradition. He got one of those names that just sounds like he comes from old money.
You don't want to see what he's done to the 13th floor of the building.
Oh, 13, huh? That was the 13th floor. You notice that? There's always something strange on the 13th floor going on.
Yeah. Some places don't even have 13th floors for that. Mitch Hedberg had an entire comedy bit about that. It's pretty funny.
Now, the question is, did they get the 13th floor because of superstition, or are they doing some shit in there?
Well, if he's a prepper, I mean, he's up to no good down there.
That is true. I didn't think that. I always thought it was weird whenever I hit the button to go to the 13th floor and end up going down.
Right.
I was like, that's really strange.
Look, you're going to go to the 13th floor. You got a crowbar in your hand. You're sitting there counting 11, 12. Hit the emergency stop and then pry the door open. All right, we're here.
Yeah, we made it. It's like, I knew it was something today when we got on the lift and the bellhop says, "Okay, we're going to the 13th floor. Good luck, everybody." Like,
and he's sitting there like Garibaldi, just riding the elevator up and down, trying to figure out what happened to this missing floor.
Right, that's one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
It's really funny because that episode's like very low rated. Like, no, that's a good episode. Just anytime you get Garibaldi just running around Babylon 5 is just fun.
Yeah, dude, I love Garibaldi. He was always like one of my favorite characters.
Y'all talking about that space man shit again?
Yeah, Deep Space Nine, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Deep Space Nine. Yeah, that's fine.
The Deep Space Farscape.
Yep.
Yeah, my favorite Star Wars is Deep Space Nine.
Yes, I also enjoy.
I love that Lando Calcisco or whatever his name is.
Luke Skywalker. He was my favorite Doctor.
Yes.
Great Doctor. Absolutely, he could cure anything. He still hasn't figured. I heard he still hasn't figured out what a midichlorian is, though.
It's just a myth.
Those don't
just propaganda.
Yeah. Jedi propaganda.
Jedi, the hell with the Jedi, right? Like, I mean, if anything we've learned in the last 10 years since Disney has purchased Star Wars is that the Jedi ain't bad.
The Jedi ain't shit.
Yeah, fuck the Jedi. I mean, and that kind of what the more I think about it, it seems like that's kind of been trying to ingrain that. It's like, look, even though the Jedi was a peacekeeping force and probably the best. The best of the best as far as force users goes. They really were the bad guys.
Look.
It's almost like that's a mission statement.
They're supposed to embody hope, and when they show up, everyone's supposed to be like, hey, it's going to be okay, the Jedi are here. No, these are the bad guys, and these are the guys you should be afraid of, because they're going to come in here with their laser swords, they're going to break things, they're going to bang your mom, and then they're going to leave without asking any questions.
Do you see that black guy, like, doing all the killing, and, like, or that guy dressed in black? Not that black guy. That black guy is cool. That's Lando.
Yeah, Lando.
See that guy dressed in black, choking people, snapping necks? Like, he's just misunderstood.
Yeah, he brought... Look, all he did was he was bringing an aid package to the planet of Mustafar, right? He was doing the good job for people. He was trying to help people out. He can't help that those idiots jumped in front of his laser sword for no reason, okay?
He is disabled. He also has a lot of mental illness. It's unfair of you to judge him by your able-bodied standards.
Look, I think it's a terrible thing that what that one Jedi guy did. What was his name? Obi-Man, whatever it was. Can't believe he did that. He just come in and slaughtered that poor fella. Like, what the world?
Yeah,
that's a terrible thing to do to somebody.
Yeah, if we can put the word out, if you see Obi-Man Kelly, please call the cops. He is wanted and dangerous for torturing the mentally handicapped or the people going through just mental issues, which is not cool. You know, those people need your help. They need your understanding.
Did you call him Obi-Man Kelly?
I said, yeah, Obi-Man Kelly.
Obi-Man Kelly? That just sounds like an old mobster.
Is he a mobster? I don't know. I can't keep up. I can't keep up with all the Jedi and their weird names.
He directs you towards the storefronts. He wants you to go in and get some free coats. No, the one further down there. No, go. Keep going. Keep going.
Well, hello there.
Oh my God. This will lead into our topic in a moment, but one of our topics.
I was going to say, we're so far away from the printing press.
Look, the printing press gets fixed when it gets fixed, okay?
Yeah. Well, we're worried about that printing. That printing press is fine. The printing press is not going anywhere. Literally, that thing has been there for 100 years, and it's not moving at all.
Rumor says that when the people settled this land, the printing press had already been there for 30 years.
Yeah.
Like
oh God. Yeah. But hey, yeah. You know, a bunch of Europeans like went up to it and they were hitting it with sticks because they didn't know what to do with it. Then eventually Ben Franklin came along and was like, you know what? I got an idea. Let's take these things and make words out of them. Holy shit! What are words? I don't know, but I'm gonna do it.
Ben Franklin would come in and be like, I don't know what this is, but it's mine now.
Exactly.
That's why he's on the hundo.
Right. Hit it with electricity. It's mine.
He jumps on the printing press with his kite and his key, and he's like, "I claim my conquest."
A couple guys find it needs electricity. They just turn to Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin's like, well. Look whose kite isn't so stupid now.
Well, if it isn't George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, who needs their Declaration of Independence printed? Okay. looks like it falls on old Benji's court now.
Would you like to hear some rates?
Look, Benji don't work cheap.
You know, for a second, I missed the hell out of it. I really have. Just want to say, get that out of the way. But okay. To get back on, talk about our subject, I have as some of you may know, I love listicles because they're so fucking stupid, right? I love CBR, I love Screen Rant, because they're going to give me some dumb bullshit to talk about, because they put up some dumb bullshit. But this one might not be so bad. We'll see. because I have not read this. That's the best thing about when I pick a listicle. I just pick the topic and I'm like, that looks good. I'm not gonna read it until we do something like this because it's funnier that way. Okay, now we're taking this, as I was telling Xavier earlier when I found the topic, and Mike, I think you'll appreciate this too. The title is 10 Best Parts of Star Wars Legends That Have Come Back to Canon. Now, here's the thing. Notice how that's worked. The 10 best parts of Legends that have come back to canon. That does not mean that they're good now.
Right.
It just means that they're back,
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's where we're at. Just to put it in the frame, that's where we're at the moment. Okay, so we'll start off with the prequels.
I can't wait to get mad.
Oh yeah, I mean, the best part about this, Xavier always gets mad at some point because I did one for Gundam one time on one of our old shows, and I got to a certain point, and he went, "Oh, fuck off!" He's like, "I'm done." Okay, so when Disney purchased Star Wars, was a dark day in our lives. I mean, that didn't say that, but I added that to it. Many fans were disheartened to find out that the expanded universe novels were no longer going to be considered canon. It wasn't just the novels; it was everything that was not the original and prequel trilogy. Let's keep that 100. Rather, they would be deemed legends, and new publishing initiatives would begin to create a different novel series that ties into the beloved franchise. However, as Star Wars canon has expanded, certain pieces of the Legends universe has made their triumphant return to canon. Here are 10 pieces of Legends that have come back and played a major role in recent additions to the Star Wars saga. Okay, first one, number 10. Force projection proved to be a valuable skill.
Okay.
Good GG, I guess. Legends debut was in the Star Wars Dark Empire. Canon debut was in The Last Jedi. One seed right there, because that entire movie was bullshit. So the fact that it's back does not mean that it is good. So,
Right.
We're batting 1,000 so far. So the concept of force projection is one of the most interesting abilities of the Star Wars universe, also known as
dialing the phone.
No. Also known as Simul-Futurists in High Galactic.
Okay.
What? Are we making? We're making words up now. The tactic allows the user to create an identical version of themselves using the Force and send them out to various locations in the galaxy. When using this projection, the creator experienced the same sensations as the projection, just without any of the danger that came with going into potentially treacherous locations. When used by someone particularly skilled, projections can be created by, of anything, not just the user, though this, known as Force Phantom, was often considered to be a dark side ability and therefore wasn't used by the Jedi. In canon, wait a minute, let's finish and then we'll discuss. In canon, Luke Skywalker was the first person to execute Force projection, something he also did in the Legends Continuum. The general technique remained the same, with the creator making a version of themselves that, other than being non-corporeal, could not be distinguished from their true self, except for the fact that he was 20 years younger at that point. But we're not going to talk about that. Using this, Luke sent the projection to the Battle of Crate. Can't believe they battled inside a crate. That must have been a small battle. Where he faced off with Kylo Ren and to give the Resistance the chance to escape the base they were trapped in unscathed. The effort exhausted him, however, and he passed away as soon as the vision disappeared. Now, wait a minute. They've already contradicted themselves here, because it says here, the creator experienced the same sensations as the projection, just without any of the dangers that comes with going into the potentially dangerous, treacherous location.
Right.
I think they forgot to include that for this to work, it must require an extraordinary amount of energy and stamina and to maintain. That's why you don't send a guy out there to just have your adventures for you while you sit safely somewhere. I think this would make more sense as I need to reach somebody directly right now, and communicators just aren't going to cut it. Once I talk to them, I'm going to stop the projection.
Yeah.
Also, I think there's degrees to it. Like, like I can appear as an apparition, like get kind of see-through, and that doesn't cost as much energy, as... No, I'm totally there. Everything passes through me.
Right.
Otherwise, you'd never notice. So it make more sense that he's flexing muscles that he hasn't used in a while. He's flexed them really, really, really hard, and maybe in the process he popped a damn blood vessel.
Mm-hmm. Are you trying to say that Luke had a force stroke?
He may have.
He did kind of go down like a sack of bricks as soon as that was over with, didn't he?
Yeah. He was all sweaty and blubbery, and then he was just gone.
But that was from drinking all that damn blue milk.
Right. Like, dude, you gotta watch your cholesterol.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff is like very high. Got a lot of fatty content to it. You shouldn't be drinking that shit.
Plus it was non-pasteurized, so there's a lot of stuff in there that I don't know if that stuff's good for him.
Microbes.
Yeah. Disgusting. Just drinking it straight from the teat, pretty much.
Yep.
Like.
Also, what gets even worse is we don't even know if that was like a nutritional thing. That could have just been like a fetish thing for him. Like, look, I got everything I need here. I got food. I got this thing that gives me breast milk anytime I want it because that's my thing for some reason. I don't need to go out into the galaxy. I have everything I need here.
And you saw the way that it, like...
He calls it Baru.
Now.
Oh.
Luke, we never said Luke didn't have issues. There might have been some things going on. I mean, he was this way.
Unresolved sexual, feelings towards his dead aunt.
Let's just say that, like, for somebody, that wasn't his, like, mother, he was really attached. And was kind of, I mean, a little strange. Let's move on to number 9 before it gets weirder.
Before we start getting tags.
All of a sudden, we were just like, fan-made tags are coming up on our podcast now. It's like, why are we getting milk and things like that? I don't understand.
Yeah, if I just unlocked some weird kink in the Star Wars community, I apologize.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what?
Why are people asking us for sauce codes?
Now, this one, I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit on this. Mandalore is one of the galaxy's most important locations. Legend's debut was in Star Wars 1977, number 68, which means it came from the comic, and the canon debut is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. The problem is, if you take that from both of them, you're both wrong. It is not Disney Star Wars at all, because Clone Wars still falls into the prequel trilogy.
Right.
Even if you take it from there, so that's not. I mean, even though they kind of had to, right? Like the Clone Wars, show was so detailed oriented, and so many stories were told. They just couldn't ignore that, right? That had to be a part of the canon.
You can't bring in what's his name, Filoni and Ahsoka, and not have it count.
Right. Yeah.
It's so intricate. That's why you need an episode guide to know what order the stories take place in.
Right.
Yeah. Now, as far as that happened a lot with the comic stuff back then. It's like, I think Marvel was doing Star Wars. I think they licensed it at the time. A lot of that was because, all right, so we got this Star Wars thing, so we got one movie. That's it. So we're just making up the rest of the shit as we go along. So. But
it's like, not to get too hard on Disney, although I love to because F them. That whole thing with Ahsoka, it's like literally all you had to do to avoid all the confusion of how to watch what is just call it Ahsoka, Colin, and the Rebels. Just say this is straight up the next season of Rebels, and everyone would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we're just doing it live action this time.
Yeah.
You know, because because that's the way the Rebels ended. It basically ended at that point. You know, it's like, Ahsoka was back. She was, doing all this stuff. So yeah, it would have worked fine. But no, we had to let's put dumb bullshit in there because we're Disney. Even though Rebels was a Disney property, at that time Rebels was under Disney, so it shouldn't have been this much trouble. So, let's see. Let's read the real quick. Mandalore is one of the most important planets in the Star Wars galaxy. It first appeared as a legend comic back in 1977, right after the original release of A New Hope. Princess Leia attracts a bounty hunter named Dengar, not to be confused with Gengar, the Pokemon, to the planet, where he plans to capture Ben Shisa, who is training a new cohort of Mandalorian protectors. Cohort? I thought cohort was like, friend or
associate, at least associate in this plot, ongoing plot or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I like about people who work for CBR and Screen Rant. They use words in places that they probably shouldn't use words.
I'm not convinced this is an AI.
Yeah, you know what? You might be right.
I know. Could be somebody that just has a word of the day calendar.
Right.
That's like, look, my mother gave this to me, okay? And I'm going to use these words. But, let's see. There she found herself involved in Mandalore's fight for freedom against the Empire. The seeds of Mandalore, as fans know it, in its more recent entries to the saga, are planted in this comic, though it still underwent a lot of changes that were brought to the wider Star Wars universe. Throughout the Clone Wars, Mandalore proved to be a significant theater of combat. In the years before the war, the planet dealt with a lot of infighting, which was left the majority of the territory inhospitable. Satine Kryze attempted to rule the planet through pacifism and gentleness. She wasn't a true Mandalorian, apparently. She was overthrown by Darth Maul and his Shadow Collective, which led to an even greater political instability in Mandalore. Ultimately, the culmination of the Siege of Mandalore depicted in the final arc of the Clone Wars. It resulted in the destruction of the planet as a whole and at the hands of the Empire is one of the most tragic stories in the galaxy. Wait, did they destroy it? I mean, I know they were spread out, but I thought, Mandalore is still there.
Right. Yeah, I thought it, because doesn't he go there in, the third season? I gave up after season 2, so I don't know.
Well, I think there was a whole, because there was that whole, you are not Mandalore. Oh, no, it's one of them. It's like the,
Right.
People of, you got these people who think they're Mandalorians, and then you got actual Mandalorians.
The Mandalore purists. But, no, I think even in the old canon, Mandalore got really fucked up. But I thought it was like glassed. Or they just did an orbital bombardment.
Yeah, basically they beat the shit out of it, but they didn't Death Star it or anything.
Mandalore's it's like Reach. It's a place you could still go. There ain't nothing there, but you can still go.
Sorry, I peaked at number 8, and I'm already laughing at the way the way this is written.
Written in quotes.
Yeah. 8. Number 8. Fortress Vader was the villain's home base. No shit.
The fuck?
Wasn't Palpatine's.
I mean, right? This belonged to Darth Tenenbaum, or whatever his name was.
Fortress Vader? Does that mean Vader combines with a Transformer?
Yes.
That's awesome.
He's a headmaster, didn't you know?
It tracks.
His little TIE, his Imperial TIE fighter, transforms into the head of the fortress.
Dude, don't give them ideas, man.
Hey.
Because we're pretty much at that point.
I mean, true. However, you got to admit, that idea is pretty fire.
Yeah.
It is.
Look, Fortress Vader is going to fight, Metroplex and Trypticon.
Right? See, that's what's going to happen when they eventually do the Godzilla crossover with Star Wars, because they already done it with DC. Right. So, that's what, so they're going to transform, Vader's Fortress and become a fucking, Mecha Godzilla. Vader. Okay. I like the fact that they called it Fortress Vader. I'm pretty sure that's not what it was called.
No, it's not. So, like,
It just, I mean, it's his fortress on Mustafar. That's what they call it, right? Like they don't.
right.
I didn't see like what was it, Rogue One, where a homeboy says, "All right, I've been summoned to Fortress Vader to talk to guess who."
Right.
You know,
It's not like Vader's like, welcome to Fortress Vader. Please come in.
Right.
Like,
sample the ham.
wipe your shoes.
Yo, you take your shoes off because I ain't tracking mud in here. I got to keep this place clean. You seen that shit I've been through? I live in a bacta tank, by the way. I love this. I love it. Great.
Actually, I love the idea now that Vader is now like Doctor Doom. Yeah. Well, welcome to Fortress Vader. Can I interest you in some of our fine cuisine or some of our women? Wipe your feet.
Okay,
I like
real
the idea that everything is called Vader something. Like, would you care for some Vader sushi?
You're right. Oh my God! I just thought of something. Okay, you remember that Fantastic Four story? I think I talked to you about it before, Xavier, but Mike, you might remember it too, where the Fantastic Four finally said, fuck Doctor Doom, we're going to go deal with him. We're done with him. He's fucked with times. So they go there and they're fucking everything up. I mean, they're about like I need to get away from beating the shit out of him. Just like he's about to be done, like done. And all of a sudden, Shield shows up and they says, "You have to stop what you're doing right now. Why? We have a treaty with Doom."
Oh wow! No, I didn't read it.
Oh wow! That was one of my. It was one of those stories that kind of blow you away. You're like, "What the fuck?" Like you finally take the villain out, but now you can't because he's protected.
That's incredible.
See, but now you got me thinking like after like somehow Vader survives, at the end of Return of the Jedi, but he's still like a villain. But like everybody tries to go and stop him, to take him out once for all. And so it's like, thanks to Luke, it's like, no, you can't. Why? We have a treaty with Vader.
Right.
You can't invade Fortress Vader. In fact,
Dude, I'm telling you, you were just giving them ideas because they will say some stupid shit like, "Well, you didn't see the body; you just saw the helmet and the armor burning up."
There's a bunch of girls that are like belly dancers, but they all have Vader helmets on. Can I interest you in one of my fine concuvators? They are as deadly as they are beautiful and sensual.
No, here's the worst part. Here's the worst thing. The funny thing is, they wear the helmets, right?
Yeah.
But because reason I'm saying this, before I say this, let me back it up. Vader never liked, right? He did not like stormtroopers. He liked the clone troopers. He trusted the clone troopers. So, like, when those belly dancers take their helmets off, they all look like fucking Jango Fett.
They're all Rex.
Yeah, they're all Rex. Everybody looks like got banging bodies, but they all have Rex's face.
Won't you come over here and see me sometime, sailor?
It's just flipping a chromosome, mate.
I heard you like to get nasty. We like to get nasty here. We're the nasty batch.
We are unlocking all kinds of kinks and fetishes tonight.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have guys, calm down, man. I got a heart problem.
Star Wars is already a fucking toxic shithole. It can't get any worse.
Right.
Oh man.
Have you seen the fan base?
Okay.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Where are they?
Yeah, I know. They're sure as hell not watching Star Wars.
I mean, good point.
I mean,
so, go ahead.
I mean, they only poured, billions of dollars into it, over the course of like 30, 40 years, even during decades where there was no movie or TV show playing.
Yeah. Right.
And all of a sudden we get a bunch of movies, and now they're gone. They're not even buying toys. They're not even buying the old toys.
That's a good point, and it made me think because I remember sending this to our good friend Charlie's the other week. I had an old manager when I used to work at GameStop, and he was a huge Star Wars fan. I mean, he saw because he worked in the movie theater, so he saw the original the original trilogy all the time because he worked in the movie theater. But he saw like A New Hope like 37 times in theater. Right? That's how much he loves Star Wars. when the prequels came out, when Phantom Menace came out, he actually took his child's college fund to buy the action figures. Now, I'm saying, like, if you could buy all the action figures with your child's college fund, it must not have been much of a college fund, but,
yeah.
Either way, it was still a sacrifice that was made.
Choices, decisions were made.
Yeah, decisions were made, and plus the son decided to join the military, so that took care of itself. But anyway, but that tells you how dedicated he was, right? And he put a post out on Facebook a couple weeks ago where after the whole just put a baby in it. We don't need to explain it. Just put a baby in it because we can. He basically, he was one of those people. It's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with Star Wars. I'm canceling Disney Plus. I'm done. Right. And I said, that's a broken man right there. To somebody who loved Star Wars that much and is now just like, I'm out.
There's nothing sadder. I'm sure this is the case for like malls and strip malls all across America, but like, at this mall out by me before we moved out here to Bufu Land, back in Portland, there was this family-owned Star Wars store in the mall, and it was huge, and like Star Wars fever, all that stuff, like 2015 to 2017-ish, and then just to like little by little over the next couple of years, you see it go from like a huge store, and they relocate to a medium-sized store, and last time we visited Portland, it was like a teeny tiny corner in the mall. You're like, oh.
And you know what's going to happen next? It's just going to be gone, because it's not going to be viable. I mean, it's kind of like, when I mentioned GameStop, it's like, GameStop now is not GameStop, it's Funko Stop, because all they sell is Funko Pops, so.
Right.
But, all right, I'm going to run through this real quick since we kind of already beat it to death. But it says, Legends Day, Dark Empire 2, number 6, and canon debut, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Though Fortress Vader didn't exist in the original incarnation of Legends, there was something very similar to it. Bast Castle, a massive black structure where Vader spent most of his time when he wasn't doing assignments for the Emperor. I don't know if you guys knew, but Vader did the Emperor's homework for him. He was like,
yep.
An elite group of stormtroopers defended it from anyone who dared to infringe upon Vader's home. While there, he worked on studying the skills he would need to heal his grievous injuries and honed his mechanical skills by tinkering with his TIE fighter and repairing droids that he injured while sparring with them. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, whoa. I didn't mean to hit you so hard. Let me fix that, dude.
I got you. Hey, remember,
I don't know. The whole concept I'm kind of torn on, because on one hand, like conceptually, there's some cool, like messed up horror stories you could do with the idea of like Vader left to his own devices in this big creepy castle. But at the same time, the more you see of the monster, the less scary the monster is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the idea that people go to that castle and they don't come out and no one knows what happens, and what you do hear is rumor or hearsay, no one knows. Mm-hmm. That's way scarier. I think the Ewoks cartoon had this moment where a dude fired upon the Emperor using their magic MacGuffin stone, and the Ewoks stopped it. At the end, he's taken to the Emperor's shuttle. And you don't want to go in there because he knows what's waiting for him. And you just hear him scream no as they drag him up the ramp, and the ramp closes, and you don't see what happens to him. And that's much more frightening than actually seeing Palpy zap this guy to death.
Right.
Yeah. Now I will say in Rogue One, which I think we can kind of all agree was the last kind of good Star Wars movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That part where my man was like, I'm still in command, then he started choking, and then Vader says, "Be sure not to choke on your ambitions."
Mm-hmm. That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool, right? But anyway, so Fortress Vader draws inspiration from Bast Castle. First and foremost, the two look nearly identical. I mean, I guess so. I don't. They're not showing a comparison. Because why would we do that?
Source, trust me on this. They're the same, I guess.
You're right. Trust me, bro.
But they're big and black. That's close enough. That's like. I've heard a lot of movies start off with that. It's big and black. Anyway, yeah. I'm glad we just let that linger and just hang in there. But
Starring Lando Calrissian.
Lando Calrissian. But
that's a man in charge.
I mean, they don't call it a Colt 45 for no reason.
Apparently, he can even satisfy droids.
He got the magic fingers.
Right.
Yeah, and he's got a real piston, if you know what I mean. Fortress Vader also gave its owner a place to recover from his injuries, though he had a back-to-tank rather than trying to heal himself with using newfound force abilities or anything like that. It had a reputation throughout the galaxy as being a sort of place Jedi who entered didn't leave, as stated by Kanan Jarrus in Star Wars Rebels. How would he know? He didn't know Vader existed until Vader showed up in season 2 and beat the shit out of him.
Yeah. Plus,
look, guys, I don't know who this guy who just showed up and beat the shit out of us was, but I heard something about this castle that just so happens to be named after him.
Also, captured Jedi were killed on the spot because if you capture them and you take them somewhere to process them, or we're going to kill you in this fancy spot we made just for you guys, you're just giving them a chance to escape.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, them Jedi are a sneaky bunch,
The Jedi are known tricksters and are known for their deceptions, like waving their hands and stealing identities. They do it all the time.
Every time you say the Jedi, I just think about it's a bridge on a lake. It's just a bunch of Jedi floating on a lake.
those no good dirty Jedi.
Or you could call them the Jetta, so they're all like cars, shitty cars that run on the road.
Yes.
Can you even find parts for a Jetta anymore?
I don't even know. Oh, okay. Here's a good one. Crossguard lightsabers are a cool new weapon.
Press
Yeah.
X to doubt.
Yeah, X to doubt, because I think, didn't we all when they showed that first time they showed the crossguard, oh, that looks cool, but wouldn't they slice his wrist off immediately?
Right.
Yeah.
It looks cool, but then you start. The real cool is heavy here, but when you start thinking about it too much, that's when it falls apart, because you start looking at the assembly and how this has to work in order for it to do that, and it just, you get too in your own head about it. It's like, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
But that first blade fires and then those cross blades fire. That's cool. That was cinematic. Breaking down how that works, this is not a good idea.
And then again, the logistics of using it and trying not to slice your wrist off.
Exactly. Because they do all that spinny shit. Let's put it this way: if Kylo Ren was doing what's Obi-Wan's form 2 or something like that, form 4?
Form 2 is like a super defensive with parries.
Yeah, that's
4, I think, and Form 4 was high energy, hyper aggressive attack.
Yeah, so he has Form 2 because he was basically known as the best defensive Jedi. But anyway, could you imagine him doing all that spinny shit that him and Anakin were doing? Kylo Ren, he does it once and both his hands fall off.
Right.
Well, that was a bad idea.
Off to the back to tank.
Yeah, off to the back to tank. I'm gonna need a droid. I need some new hands.
Yeah, he just whispers to his foe, "You forget you saw this."
Yeah, I just had a thought. All those, because as time has gone on, we do know that the Skywalkers weren't the only ones who lost hands during, during these years and stuff. Do you think there was ever a situation where a Jedi had to get their hands replaced and they just they did the Ricky Bobby things? I don't know what to do with my hands. And they just start the speeder ran good, did good did good for me out in the field, and he just his hands just start raising up for no reason.
Right. Or is it just the Starship Troopers thing that like training with lightsabers, like injuries like that are so common, like they just mess each other up on purpose because they know they can instantly repair it?
Oh God, Padawan training is like Starship Troopers.
It is.
Medic!
Like, just put your hand up on that wall.
But Master Clancy Brown, I don't know about this.
Put your hand on that wall. Enemy cannot use the force, he cannot use his hand. Medic!
No, instead of throwing the lightsaber across the room, he just puts the fucking hilt up to it and turns it on. Oh, what the fuck? Dude had no idea what was gonna happen. Medic!
I'd love to see the clients as a Jedi.
He was in one of the shows, wasn't he?
I think so.
He was wasn't he a voice?
No. I mean, I think like actor Clancy Brown, not voiceover. Let me see, Clancy Brown, Star Wars. Look at it.
Wasn't he that? I could be remembering it wrong because it's been a long time. Wasn't he in Clone Wars the alien that had the two saber staffs and the forearms and he hated clone troopers?
Maybe.
I could be remembering it wrong. I could be somebody completely different.
Was he in that Mandalorian episode that was like the jailbreak where they introduced Bill Burr? Was he in that?
That's what I was thinking, because I seen the face, because he had a full beard and everything. I'm like, because it took me a second. I'm like, wait, that's Clancy Brown, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently, yeah, he was a voice in Rebels. He was also in Ahsoka. So,
okay,
yeah. It said Clancy Brown's returns as writer Izadi in Ahsoka. Okay. Apparently, that was a character that carried over for Rebels.
Sure.
I
never finished Rebels. I don't hate it.
I think he was a governor or something of something.
He's Darth Maul's brother.
What?
Oh wow! Okay.
Oh, he was also
Savage Opress.
That name.
Yeah. Don't you love fucking bad guy names in Star Wars? It's just, and the way they pronounce it so you don't catch on at first is like Savage Opress. No, yeah, Savage Opress.
And just that thing. Like, do you guys want to do another take on that one? No. Okay, we'll just go with it.
Yeah, right.
He was also a throwaway character in Rebels. It was a Gorn.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what this race is. Just a lizard guy. He looks like a Gorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's actually a dude in Rebels too. Like, I think it was like an imperial, like he was a governor or something.
Yeah,
and they were trying to, get his help to take back power. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not really down with that, but if y'all get a little further, I'll come help you all out." Okay. So, yeah. Either way, so the Clans. But the Clans as a Jedi would be amazing. Let's be honest.
According to this, he is an Inquisitor in Tales of the Jedi.
So as a voice.
As a voice, I don't know. A series of animated anthology shorts.
Look up Tom Clancy live action Star Wars. That'll show you what I've been seeing.
Berg in The Mandalorian.
I mean, I guess I don't.
Is it like a red guy with like a Satan face and two horns?
Yeah, like that. I think that's what I'm thinking about. Like,
he was in the Mandalorian. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's like a jailbreak episode.
And like I said, he was also that governor guy. So basically, Clancy Brown is being Clancy Brown and doing a lot of shit in one series. But
I will say though that Clancy Brown as a Jedi, just playing Drill Sergeant Zim, that would immediately get me back into Star Wars, like hands down.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
He could be like, what do they call him? The Temple Guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Screw that Syndraulic guy. We got fucking Grandmaster Zim over here.
Look, you think being a Jedi is like being super spiritual and being one with the Force? No, it's getting your ass kicked by Zim.
Right.
Zim called the Sith Lord.
Look, Zim, the only way you're gonna see any action during the Clone Wars is if you somehow get your ass busted down to Padawan.
Yes, sir. Anybody says, good job, Master Zim. Padawan Zim. Fucking Darth Sidious in a fucking net. He's like, ah!
What are you doing with me? Stop! What are you doing? He's afraid. He's afraid.
I know, like he like rides as tight on the line as he can between the light and the dark. Like he's like right there.
Yeah, he's basically like kind of like Mace Windu, but he, even tighter. Right.
Like the game master for his tabletop game of Star Wars. The tabletop's like, dude, anymore, and you have to be a Dark Jedi. Like you can't play any closer than this. You've gamed the shit out of this. This is ridiculous. Anymore, you have to be a Dark Jedi. I can live with that.
It's like where did he get this reputation? Well, you see, he one day during training he backhanded the youngling. Like, oh, that sounds terrible. Yeah, just that day. I mean, there were 3 more earlier. He just kept doing it.
Did the youngling deserve it?
Yeah. They won't listen.
The youngling had it coming.
Oh God, you could have like where they had like he has animosity. Anakin has animosity to him because you know how Anakin was always like cocky and shit. So Zim just always get out of him. You think you're cute, huh? You think you're the chosen one, huh? Come here.
He's the equivalent of like what's that garbage they like focusing on in Star Trek these days? Like Section 31 or something.
Oh
like
yeah.
Jedi. He's the Jedi equivalent of that.
Oh yeah. He's the Secret Service.
Yep.
Look, Mr. Skywalker, I thought I told you I don't want to have to come back down here. And you best mind your P's and Q's.
Look, when I tell you to do something, you do it. Remember, it's for the good. It's for the good of the Republic and the good of the Order. So, what were we doing again? Oh yeah, crossover lightsaber.
So anyway, Clancy Brown in Star Wars could probably, and you just let him be Zim or just be Clancy Brown because, I don't know how much of that is Zim, is high-line writing and just Clancy Brown being Clancy Brown.
Right.
Could probably single-handedly save the entire franchise if you just have a show of him being a Jedi training other Jedi like that.
I was going to say, this conversation is literally my favorite Star Wars in the past, 3 years.
Oh, God. I'm going to move on from the crossguard thing because we already, kind of beat that to death. I don't need to read.
We beat that to death years ago.
Yeah. Force healing has a complicated past for number 6.
Yeah. Past.
So anyway, Clancy Brown is...
I will force you to heal, so get better so you can get back to work.
See, this is why I thought, the whole motivation from... well, I guess because we didn't know it at the time, because it popped up before. I think it was called, the Legends debut was in the book Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and it came back in Clone Wars. But then again, Clone Wars did open up a lot of continuity errors for Revenge of the Sith, because if they knew about Force healing, then why would Anakin need to be like, oh no, I need to go to the dark side to save my wife? Because
right.
I'll put it this way. Okay. Mike, when you get a chance, if you want some good, funny Star Wars, there's a channel. It's called Not Obi-Wan Kenobi, right?
Okay.
And what he's doing a deep fake of Obi-Wan, watching Star Wars. And he's watching it with Qui-Gon Jinn and Anakin Skywalker, right? And and so they actually have these conversations. It's because one of the funny things is when they take the longest time to try to tell Qui-Gon what happened with Anakin. They don't want to tell him what happened. Because at one point they're watching Ahsoka before they watch Revenge of the Sith, right? And he says, so he's talking to the guy. He's like, "Look, I don't want Qui-Gon to find out about Anakin until the Sith." So they're trying to avoid it and everything, right? And so, I mean, and they have conversations kind of like we're doing. I mean, even though they're doing bits, it's still funny, right? Because I told Xavier about this the other day. One of the funnier ones, when he finally sees the Youngling massacre, Qui-Gon, he's just like, "Oh, Anakin, no, 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 no." And then then it shows all the masters dying, during during Order 66, and when Plo Koon dies, he goes, "Oh, popcorn head." But then the best part was, he says, "Why did you kill?" He said, "Well, Master Obi-Wan taught me." He like, "You did what?" He says, "You taught him the youngling killing moves." He said, "They're theoretical youngling killing moves."
That's awesome. Yeah, I just bookmarked it. I'm totally gonna watch the hell out of those later.
Yeah, and the deepfakes are really good too. And you'll love it. Like every once in a while, Gandalf will show up. Just
look. Sometimes the younglings will wild out, and you need to check them to death.
The best part was like one of the funnier parts was after he like admonished Anakin for doing what he did. He's like, and he gives him like a look of like, "I'm sorry." He went, "Oh, I can't say no to that face. You're back in, kid." And Obi-Wan's like, "What's going on?" And then the best one was like, and like somehow Obi-Wan kept getting blamed for it. For everything that happened. He's like, "But I didn't do anything." He said, "You were supposed to train the boy. The boy needed a father, not a brother."
Awesome.
The guy on Liam Neeson, so it's just like you're getting admonished by Liam Neeson constantly, And my favorite part, he's always eating snacks. Qui-Gon, he's always like eating Doritos or some kind of snack. He's just like always eating. Like like in the recent one, to bring it to show you how that they keep it topical. They were talking about how the whole the new like the Sith show up and like all of a sudden Ki-Adi-Mundi knows about it, even though he said in the movie there hasn't been we haven't seen a Sith Lord in 1,000 years, and it's like
right.
And it's like, so they actually go through a thing where they're watching this, like, all right, pull it up. Okay, right there. And they're showing, like, the scene from Phantom Menace where he says it. He's like, see? He did say it. And they even made a joke that, like, Ki-Adi, like, every time he lies, his forehead grows. Did your forehead just grow? No.
It's like some certain point of view bullshit. Like for branding purposes, that's not technically a Sith.
Right. But yeah, this next one is talking about force healing and how coming artifact, whatever, blah blah blah. Okay.
I'm not allowed to say Sith because the word Sith is currently owned by the Plagueis estate, and they charge by the usage.
Right.
They even touch on the whole, like, they even make the joke about, like, that Darth Plagueis was Jar Jar in that joke. I thought that was funny. Okay, number 5. We'll just roll through these here. Malachor underwent a few changes on the journey to canon. I didn't realize that Malachor debuted in Knights of the Old Republic, too.
Huh, okay.
But that's the thing, they're calling that Legends, but I've always heard that the exception is always Knights of the Old Republic stuff. So
Knights of the Old Republic is canon until it's not.
Yeah, pretty much. Because Revan is canon, right? Like, yeah. And then
again, I think they're just at the point where they're picking and choosing and getting away with paying as little royalties as possible to whoever
created that.
Yeah.
Which is usually George Lucas, but we'll reintroduce it in our way. That way we don't have to pay Anyway, it debuted originally Knights of the Republic. It was brought back in Star Wars Rebels. If anybody doesn't know, Malachor is basically a Sith planet, and they had their own Sith temples and all that kind of stuff. So it's whatever. Havok was a major part of Han Solo's life. Who? Sabak, a beloved card. Yeah.
I like that we all did the Guardians thing.
Yeah.
Sabak was the card game they played.
Yeah. I was going to say, a beloved card game. It's one of the small details. Is that? I mean, that's really like that's fishing for a fucking thing, right? Like it's just like
somebody
I need to fill this. Yeah.
How did Han get the Falcon? He won it in Sabak.
Yeah. So technically, they're wrong. It wasn't debuted in Legends. It debuted in the original series, right? So.
Right.
Anyway, and this is more recent. Cortosis recently became more prominent. Have they officially called it Cortosis yet?
What the fuck's Cortosis?
That's the metal, right?
Yeah, it's a metal that basically is resistant to lightsaber.
It's like it's like that a metal similar to that fucking Mandalore alloy.
Like
yeah, some of the best part.
If you've seen that clip from Acolyte where like he busts the lightsaber with his helmet, they're saying that the helmet's made out of that shit.
Yeah, because you can do. Yeah.
Like, I can buy that there's materials that a lightsaber can't punch through, because even in Legends, blasters don't affect the Hutts, and lightsabers don't affect the Hutts. Because of how thick their skins are. So, there being metals that are on par with that, I totally get by. I just think that the headbutt move, while it looked cool, when you start figuring out how this fucking worked, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah. Nearly impossible to mine, as the raw energy surrounding it made it lethal to anyone who came in contact with it before it had been refined.
Then how do you get it?
This guy could be wearing a helmet of this and like getting Jedi cancer.
Yeah, it's like, well, then how the fuck do you get it? It's like,
is it like diamonds? Like, do you have to mine for it with more Cortosis? Like,
yeah, it's just like you got to get a Cortosis bit so you can get more Cortosis.
you gotta borrow guys from the 40K universe, because anyone that mines this shit's gonna die in the process.
Okay, and I'm gonna say this. Okay, Beskar sounds like a metal, right? That sounds like something that you can like. I can believe there's you could get a Beskar dinner plate, for example.
Yeah.
Right. Cortosis sounds like a disease.
It does.
You mentioned
it sounds like something Han picked up in his younger days.
Yeah. He was fooling around too much in the
Wookiee prostitutes, man. 4 minutes of a pleasure, 40 years of shame. Getting those Cortosis flare-ups.
Just more Star Wars kinks, man. Like, let's just keep it going.
Look, Leia, before we have intercourse, I should let you know that I'm Cortosis positive. I hope that's okay. I probably should have told you before we sucked face, but
Right.
I'm not. I'm medicated, so it's under control.
I shouldn't pass it along. However, there's a possibility.
Yeah.
Right. I'm clear for another 48 hours.
Yeah. Oh wait, that's a wrong movie.
Yeah, but where you going? You're still gonna let me raw dog it, right? Leia? She'll be back.
She'll be back. Okay, number 2, because I don't care. Night Sister have had a lasting influence. Apparently, they debuted in something called the Courtship of Princess Leia. They underwent a bit of evolution to become the group seen throughout canon today. They weren't the only group of witches on Dathomir. Rather, they were the most powerful and often used. See, that's the thing. They already had witches, right? They've already had Force witches, and then it's like, but no, that's not good enough. We need some more Force witches.
Right. Leslie's like, no, I need my witches.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, one could argue if the Force is a universe-spanning energy. The Force is just how we know it. There's other beings out there that use it and use it differently. And that's obviously how you get like the light side, the dark side, and you get the different philosophies, like the Grey Jedi. It's just different applications of the same thing. So the idea of there being witches out there makes perfect sense.
To use some real world mythology, I mean, it's kind of like Zeus and Jupiter, for example. It's the same thing, just different name. But But still, yeah, it's like the whole like of course the whole thing with the whole like it's a thread. We're all tied together by the thread, and then like that whole thing is like, we don't use it for to gain power. Immediately used it to gain power.
Right.
What is I would say, Xavier? What was, go ahead, Mike. Sorry. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and obviously, and this someone must have pointed this out by now. Like, maybe having an entire plot of a show revolving around child grooming coming from the former assistant to Harvey Weinstein isn't a smart pitch.
Yeah, no.
She's drawing on her experiences to give you a more relatable movie. I don't know about that.
Right. She's just sharing her truth.
It's the truth. That's how I saw it. Okay.
Right.
Good job. And plus, that's another thing that will you'll like in that show when you get to that part, Mike. There's a part where they do the whole like they're watching that scene where it's like I carried them and then I created them, and Anakin for a second he goes 4 stepsisters. Because they play it off like not that the Force gave him life, but that his dad is the Force.
Yeah.
And his dad just gets around. He doesn't. He's like, my dad. But he makes the thing. He said, my dad was never there for me. He said, well, your dad would have been everywhere at once. So I don't understand why you had a problem with that.
Did they keep that stupid thing in canon or not? About Palpatine like being in the Force and doing the deed with Shmi, and so you remember that whole thing?
Yeah. I think the last I heard of that, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if this has changed or not. Okay, the last official thing I said, this was before Disney, right? Was that because Plagueis was the one who was sniffing around trying to figure out immortality, right?
Yes.
So apparently. But this is before, so this is before Plagueis died. So him and Sidious were messing around. They were trying to probe the Force, right? And they were trying to come up with this whole thing, to grant him immortality. And of course, Plagueis says like, "Oh, if I get it, I can get it for you too." You don't have any intention of giving it to him, but you know how it goes. You know how
right.
And the idea was that their attempt was so violent in the Force, it caused basically caused a fissure in the Force, right? And the Force, to correct itself, had to do something with that energy and basically put that energy into Shmi.
Okay.
And that's how you had a baby with no
9 months later a baby farted out.
Yeah, exactly. So honestly, I said that is like kind of stupid and convoluted and complicated, but I like that better than Palpatine having Force babies.
Yeah.
Which even if that was in canon, I don't even know if that would be true. That may have just been something he was saying to Vader to be a dick.
Yeah, that's true too.
I fucked your mother. You were always meant to follow my commands. After all, I made you. In more than one way. Hey!
Oh God, we're going to the version of Palpatine that's from Robot Chicken.
Right.
What the hell's aluminum Falcon? But no, me and Xavier had a conversation about this, and to put it on the show here so people can hear it. The problem with doing making this a normal thing that can be done with just putting Force babies into people is that it breaks everything. Not just that Anakin wasn't special or anything like that. The whole thing is, why does Palpatine need to find an apprentice? Why are we searching out? We could literally have a Force baby arms race, right?
Right.
Why clone some fucking Mandalorian bounty hunter when we just get some fucking licensed Force breeders and just have them shit out a fucking Jedi army?
Yeah. Because and I said this to Xavier, of all the people, there would only, all the people, Palpatine would have knowledge like that because he would find it.
Sure.
So, of course, he would do it. And I said, so why do all this subterfuge and create this grand army of the Republic and this, the Confederacy and blah, blah. Just one day show up at the Jedi Temple with 10,000 fucking, yellow-eyed Force babies.
Yeah.
Right. And this kind of, like, just real quick, like, this kind of ties into a brief conversation we were having before we started recording, which is, like, the point of stories, right? Because, like, let's say the Acolyte wraps up with them basically sweeping whatever dirty stuff the Jedi did and the whole plot of the show. Like, they just basically sweep it under the rug and, like, no one ever speaks of this ever again. Well, then why'd you even tell this story? Like, if it does nothing and contributes nothing to this huge legacy that you have the honor of contributing to, like, what are we even doing?
Yeah. I think the whole thing, like I said earlier when we started, is like Jedi bad.
Right.
That's the whole point of the thing. It's not anything other than just Jedi bad. Like Jedi, because it's one thing we've learned, especially from like Disney's like undertaking of any kind of canon since they've started like buying everything up and trying to run it and everything. Especially people they get to run it. There is no such thing as a true good and a true bad. There's always that. There's always that shade of gray. Now, and I think I mentioned before, I'm tired of that bullshit. Can't we just have good and bad? It's okay. It's okay to have ultimate good and ultimate bad. Like,
right.
It's just so dumb. It's like,
and then they put it under the umbrella of like quote unquote for modern audiences, and it's like, I think modern audiences to a degree once in a while still enjoy like a good guy versus bad guy story. Especially in the fairy tale / fable mythology, realm of storytelling. And that's definitely what Star Wars was, at least.
Yeah, you don't need to know that our villain had a really bad day one time, and that put him down this course, so he's a well-meaning extremist. Sometimes you just need a villain that's like, dude, it's fun to do bad things.
Yeah. My favorite with that garbage is the whole Cruella thing, where it's like, but she had a really messed up, like, 20s something years, like, in like her 20s. And it's like, oh, so that makes it okay that she likes to skin puppies for coats. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think, didn't they did a similar thing with Maleficent, right? Like, no, she wasn't actually a bad guy. She became a bad guy because of the circumstances. Oh, she's just a bitch, Can't she just be a bitch,
Right.
Like, Palpatine has, from everything that I have ever read about Palpatine, there are no redeeming qualities of that man, like, at all. Mm-hmm. He was a dick before he was, like, Plagueis found him, and he was a dick afterwards, and he's always a dick, Let the man, yeah.
So what you're saying is Disney's next step is to Twilight him.
It's going to happen. There's going to be something. There's going to be some reason. There's going to be like why he, because I think from what I understand from the canon is that he came from a rich family on Naboo, so he was always in that kind of thing. His father was kind of a bastard.
He ran a little animal hospital where he used to take care of the local squirrels until one day his father was like, what are you doing all this lame animal shit? You some kind of space girl or something? I didn't raise no son to be like that. No, Daddy, no! And then he kicked it over and the little critters died. And then from then on it was all evil all the time because he had to get revenge, and that's the path to the dark side. And then he met a stranger on the street. He's like, hey, little kid, you want some candy? Well, anyway, after a bunch of bad stuff happened to him, shall I teach you the ways of the dark side? Will it make my butthole hurt less? Maybe. Then let's do it. And then he killed his family. And then he decided that revenge wasn't enough. He wanted more power because revenge is just a cup that never fills.
You gotta have. There's one thing you're missing there. You gotta have something in there where a Jedi was involved in some way, so he would, have to hate them too, right? There's got to be a reason, and I think that reason would be like when my dad was kicking over my puppy mill. The Jedi was literally over there watching him do it and didn't interfere.
Right.
Hey, you got something to say about how I'm raising my son? You fucking Jedi punk! No, just carry on. What a weird.
Oh God.
What a strange man.
Oh God, you know that's basically Friday, right?
Oh man! What you're saying is Palpatine needs a Smoky.
Hold up, wait. Fucking Palpatine's dad is Debo?
Yeah,
Because you ain't got no job.
Every day, Palpatine gets up and anything nice he hides because his dad's just gonna steal it from him when he wakes up. His dad has the squeakiest speeder on Naboo.
Hey, Sheev. I got a chain. You see it. I chain now.
Mama gave me this to me. Fuck you say to me?
You know what? Your mama's a bitch.
You just sent me into a coughing fit, sir.
Sorry,
he's looking at the Jedi.
Oh, good.
He's looking at Ice Cube and Chris Tucker, who are in Jedi robes. Man, how you gonna just let him do that? Do me like that? I helped it was you.
Well, I take it back. This is my favorite Star Wars in the past.
Fucking Debo Palpatine comes up and looks.
Debo Palpatine.
What do you mean you ain't got nothing? You Jedi usually a couple of high rollers. We ain't got nothing, man. Times is tough. I had to palm out my lightsaber.
Oh my god!
It's like this big dude. It's just like this big dude like poking out two Jedi.
Fucking Big Worm is a hut.
Fucking hut with a perm on his.
What up, perma?
Hot language. He's like, don't play with my emotions.
Oh no, yeah. It's like, hey, look, Smoky One. Don't mess with my. You mess with my spice, like playing with my emotions. That's what I always found funny. That's another thing I found funny is like all the other Huts can speak perfect English except Jabba. You know?
Right.
Everybody else can speak English. Jabba's like, fuck that noise. I'm fat. I'm proud.
Right.
Oh God. Taking the concepts of other movies and putting it into Star Wars is like,
It's pretty good.
yeah.
Man, every time I come over here, you got half a shit. You know, you got Nerf got no burger.
Right,
You got Blue got no milk.
Light, no saber. God, I just thought, at the end of the movie, how Craig goes to brick at Debo.
Nope.
He finally throws a functioning lightsaber and says, "Hey, Debo!" That's why Little Sheev hates him. That's why Little Sheev hates him, because fucking Craig Gon Jinn fucking killed his father.
Craig Gon Jinn? Your head got cut the fuck off!
Mon Mothma is Miss Parker across the street.
The Force is my shepherd, it knows what I want! Mon Mothma! Mon Mothma!
Oh God. Husband comes back and they come down. Baby, we were just meditating.
Oh, Mr. Parker's fucking angry Yoda.
Yoda just coming up.
Throwing her clothes out on the yard. No good, filthy slut you are.
Oh God. Oh Lord.
I can't believe we saved Star Wars, you guys.
Yeah, we did.
We just found out.
All it took was the Clance and Friday.
Exactly. But you got to stop there. You can't do Friday too. You got to have, it has to be.
No.
Yeah. This Friday.
Look, we can only save Star Wars once. Don't try this again.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, but as much as durable as Palpatines are, he's not coming back from a lightsaber face.
And yet somehow He returned.
Somehow, Debo Palpatine has returned. He's riding on a fucking Wookiee transport across the galaxy because he's trying to find fucking Qui-Gon Jinn. Went to go stay with his auntie and his uncle.
Qui-Gon Jinn and Smokey One Kenobi. Oh God, Qui-Gon Jinn's father is Mace.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he's just in there he's in there just taking shits and sticking up the bathroom.
I get one of those Wampa rats, and I just grab him by the neck.
Oh God, you know how he's spraying? You know, he's like, doing the spray in the bathroom. Instead, he's just like waving his around, treating it like a match.
Run, Mr. Protocol Droid, run! Oh, he got your ass, Mr. Protocol Droid!
Look, Mike's over here recovering from. Man, you don't need to. We're gonna kill.
God.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Oh man, just take a double helping of your medication today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like and tell Celine I'm sorry that we killed.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay. Woo.
It's okay. He died saving Star Wars.
You're right.
It was worth it.
Yeah, he went out. He went out on a good note, right? It's kind of like we had me and my friends back in the day. We would have this joke like we were like play a wrestling game or something like that, and like basically anytime a guy would fight the Undertaker, it would just be like, well, he had a good run, right? So to be, here lies Mike Murphy. He had a good run.
Yeah. Good run.
If anybody cares, number one is Thrawn. I think that was kind of a gimme though. But
Yeah, of course.
This list started with Thrawn, and then they just like, oh shit, I need 10 things, or I need 9 more things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just gonna say, can I just say, if this listicle is indicative of where we're at with Star Wars, isn't it just so sad?
It is, right? Because I think we can all agree, and at least in both incarnations, that Thrawn is cool.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing we can say they got right. Thrawn is a cool character. Even when bringing him back, and that he was a Grand Admiral during the actual Grand Admiral during the Empire days, and he comes back later and he can still do his bullshit. I think that's cool because that's something. Like I said, I never had a problem with Thrawn coming back in Ahsoka because that's something Thrawn would do.
Yeah.
So, I think their characterization of him was great, and I can't say too much about that. Because I think up until this one and a couple others, there are bits and pieces here and there that are okay, that can be something, right? But the problem is it gets ruined by idiots who don't know what they're doing,
No, and this goes all the way back to Last Jedi. As much as I hate Last Jedi, if they had committed, if they had committed to the bullshit that Ryan tried setting up in that movie, there could have been a cool third movie following from all of that nonsense. It's that if they had just ended on him extending his hand and her taking it, and you're like, oh shit, what's that mean? The cool stuff that they could have spun out into a third movie. But instead they got scared and they realized oh wait, we just kind of let him derail the entire thing, and again we end up with somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah. And then Palpatine, right?
Right.
I think honestly, I was watching a video today about it, and a guy said it best. He says he thinks if they had just stuck with the Snoke thing, where Snoke is an imperfect clone, but he had force powers and everything like that. And not killed him off, that could have been a compelling part of the story too, right? Yes, he had his lineage. The whole thing could have been his lineage was to be a clone of Palpatine to house his essence and stuff, but it didn't work out, right? Palpatine's gone. Just let Palpatine be gone. but Snoke became like, the quote heir to the Empire, and that would have been more compelling. Like the whole thing with Kylo Ren could, with some tweaks could have worked. I never liked the in the second one where they said Rey was nobody. She's a nobody.
Yeah.
Because the problem is with her being nobody, that eventually became a thing where anybody can use the Force.
Which is kind of what Ryan was really trying to go for, is that anybody can be a Jedi. The Force it can be for anybody. Like, that's not a bad message, but that is not the message you want for part 2 of a 3-part saga.
Right.
Yeah, it like after however many movies and TV shows and stuff, like I guess like whenever people start spitballing what they wish a story could be, like I kind of give the same answer I give to like something like the last season of Game of Thrones. It's like, no, there's a way that everything that they did could work. It's just you just have to do it not stupidly. Like everything in The Last Jedi could have worked. It's just they handled it the absolute worst way possible.
Yeah.
Yep. The other thing is that, like I was mentioning earlier, Last Jedi is not a Star Wars movie as much as it is a movie about Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
The problem that Disney Star Wars has is that other than Andor and Rogue One and maybe I think season 1 and parts of season 2 of Mando, is that instead of making Star Wars stories, they're making statements about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Well, it also goes to this, and it's the fact that, you had one vision in Force Awakens, then you had another vision totally different in The Last Jedi, and then we try to get back to that first vision in the third movie, right?
Right.
Now, the problem with that is, to liken it back, because people have made the comment, well, Empire and, Return of the Jedi, they were directed by different people to George Lucas. Yes, but it was all George Lucas's plan, right? It was all his stuff. There was a intricate Bible of Star Wars stuff for these people to tap into to make a movie. It seems to me when they made the sequel trilogy, there was none of that. That was just like, I got my idea. Well, your idea kind of fucked up, so we need to go back to that other idea.
Well, JJ did what like he always does, and he even admitted this in like some interview from like 2 or 3 years ago. Like JJ is really good at like asking a question, but having no idea what the answer is and not caring what the answer is, and then leaving the room before someone answers the question.
Right.
Like he's really good at like setting a cool premise up, and then he's like, I don't know what any of this means. You guys figure it out.
So what you're saying is he's an idea man. He's not, but he doesn't have good follow through.
Yep.
I can see that.
Girl like that.
David Cage is like that.
Oh God. Sorry, David Cage.
It's not that David Cage lacks follow through. It's that his follow through is very tunnel vision and kind of gets away from his idea.
Yeah, I'm going to get there no matter what. I don't care about character motivations or anything at this point. I'm going to get there.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like, let's be honest. I think, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Force Awakens was a beat for beat New Hope. It was beat for beat. And that's fine. You're reestablishing the universe and all that. That's okay. I can kind of see that. I think what people were expecting with Last Jedi was a beat for beat Empire. And we didn't get that. We got whatever that was, and
right.
It's like I said, remember how Ryan Johnson, his big thing, I'm going to subvert expectations. And, my joke is he subverted expectations. People were expecting a good movie.
Yep.
And they didn't. He damn sure did it. Nobody got that.
And not just that, but like he completely ruins Finn, like as a character down to a molecular level. He just ruins Finn.
Finn went from a almost protagonist and could have been a very like Han Solo-esque character that he'd be right there the whole time to background.
He could have been the next Kyle Katarn.
Yeah. See, that would have been that's the character you lean into, like anybody can use the Force, because until in the first movie he had no force abilities. He just like, I can swing this lightsaber around pretty good,
Right.
and that was it. I mean, to the point where he was standing toe to toe with a guy who was trained with a lightsaber. Like, I'm not going to call him a Sith Lord because they didn't want to use that term at that point. But
once again, Sith was owned by the Plagueis estate like that, and it cost too much to use it every time they say it.
I mean, because wasn't like the whole thing that like he got a lick on Kylo Ren, right? He
did.
He got one hit in.
Yeah,
got one hit in, and then he was like knocked out.
Yeah, because then Kylo Ren's like, all right, fuck this. I'm tired of playing around with you. And
right.
And of course, Miss Natural at the Force and everything just pops in and just like starts immediately. Who had at that point never picked up a lightsaber at that point at all.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to throw out the stuff that was done stupid in Last Jedi. You just have to like make it smart. Like, all of the ingredients are there for a smart film. Like, as you're saying, like, imagine like a stormtrooper dealing with PTSD and discovering this concept of like anyone can use the Force and like giving himself over to the Force and finding peace in it. Like, it's there. You have it. You just have to write the story.
Yeah.
But or you could just subvert expectations.
Like, consider the idea of a stormtrooper either drafted to be or grown, or clone or whatever. Right. I forget if Finn was just taken as a child or conscripted, or if he was cloned. I forget.
Mm-hmm.
But that was his whole life. So his whole life he is a meat shield and a weapon, and then he goes and becomes more than that and becomes a symbol of hope and keeping the peace. So a tool of war to a tool of peace. That's character development. That's good shit.
Yeah, that sounds like a great movie to me.
Mm-hmm.
The problem they have with Rey, though, is the same problem that Paul W.S. Anderson has with any movie that he makes starring his wife, is that anybody else that does anything cool in that movie has to fumble so that she can do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nobody's allowed to be cooler than her.
It's the whole like visitors are forbidden. Yeah. Yeah. Like, but no, you gotta have for some reason. I think we joke about Mary Sue's all the time, right? And some people, I say some people use Mary Sue inappropriate. Like, but I mean, what is Rey? Is that right? There's no other. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and again, that's yet another example of commit to the bit. Like, okay, she's of the Palpatine lineage. Like, let her explore that, and what does that really mean? And some of that could justify why she's so naturally inclined towards some of this stuff.
And then you give her the option, like, which way now?
Yeah,
at the end, this is behind you. The future is up to you. It's time for you to choose.
Yeah.
And that's when you can start playing with the idea, because Star Wars has played a lot with destiny, or at least they throw the term around a lot. At least in the original trilogy, and you can sit there and go, Mighty Max had this idea that destiny is like one part fate, one part calculation, one part free will. The idea that prophecy just says this will happen, but you still have to carry it out. It's not a guarantee. Right. If you don't do what you're supposed to do and the prophecy isn't fulfilled, then bad things are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The idea that it was foretold that you would come here and you would do this, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Only that this is the future that's been chosen for you, and this is what lies ahead of you if you go that way. You don't have to do that, though.
No.
You could choose to walk the path not mapped out, and whatever happens, and you have to deal with the consequences of that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, what if the reason why Rey has to walk the path of the dark side is so a greater good will emerge? Right. But because she doesn't do that, that good doesn't emerge. And maybe it goes the other way. By picking this path, you've automatically chosen the path for somebody else, all things being equal and opposite.
Mm-hmm. And plus, and just getting back to it too, how a lot of characters ended up being like just mischaracterized, right? Like I saw a good meme, and I think we were talking about last Jedi. I just y'all appreciate this. It's a scene from Return of the Jedi where he says, I cannot strike down my father, and then Yoda says, what about a nephew? Oh yeah, I can totally do that.
right.
They're still good in him. I sense it. Later, a few years later, this motherfucker's having a bad dream.
Yeah, exactly.
I knew you should have read the Book of Debo.
Yeah, everyone likes to talk shit about like, well, what you think someone can't change, but when they're like young to the point where they're like an old person, it's like I'm not saying that they can't. What I'm saying is that point right in the middle, the whole flashback sequence where he like picks up and momentarily lights a lightsaber to strike down his nephew is the part I think most people have an issue with.
Yeah, that he was literally going to kill his nephew, and his nephew could tell his intent because what did he do? Immediately fucked off, right?
Yep.
Because I don't know about you guys, but if somebody's coming at me with a laser sword, I'm leaving.
Yeah, I gotta go.
That was
Ben. Wait, I was just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding, haha.
Right. I totally take it back.
Yeah. Now, granted, there's a situation there where I'd say, well, why wouldn't Ben go to his mother, and say, hey, Uncle Luke's, something's wrong with Uncle Luke. Like he's
right. You need to go talk to your brother.
Yeah. It's like he's doing some crazy shit. I think you need to go have a talk with him. Well, what's he doing? Well, he did try to kill me last night. Like, what?
Right.
And Leia being Leia, she'd have gone and kicked his ass probably. It's like, what the fuck you doing?
And that's Selena's biggest issue with these stupid movies. She hates how Leia gets treated. She's like, there's no way Leia isn't going to tear down the universe to get her son back and keep him from going to the dark side. There's no way that's not happening.
And she's not going to depend on Han to do it.
Right.
She might she'd be like, I'm going after Ben. If you want to come, that's fine, but I'm going.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She's taking the Falcon. You can, we're going after Ben. Get in.
Right. Yeah.
You're shotgun this time.
And the funny thing is, Chewbacca's already in there. He's already co-pilot. He's like, yeah, I mean, I'm just whenever she speaks, I'm going because I know how this works, right?
Yeah, she's not even waiting for him to get up to the cockpit. The ramp is up. Okay, we're taking off. Whoa! He fucking rolls down the corridor.
Yeah, but, and that just goes into a whole other weird thing, pseudo psychology stuff of the modern writer's approach to flawed parents and not being able to write positive nuclear families. That's a whole other thing, but that's totally why that is the way it is.
See, I could see the whole dynamic of Han going off the adventures, right? With Chewbacca, I'm gonna go back and do spice, smuggle spice because it's more fun, right?
Yeah.
Leia knowing how Han would be, he's like, all right, see you later. When you come back around, let me know. The reason I say that is because the reason I say that is because one of my favorite movies is Big Jake, right? Mm-hmm. It's a John Wayne movie, and one of the things was that these people come and attack his ranch. He's not there, right? His wife's there. His kids are there. His grandkid is there. They come and attack his ranch, kidnap his grandkid, and all this stuff. And she was like, when they asked, she said, go get the sheriff and this and that and the other. And he said, and what about your husband? And she said, I have no husband because he hadn't been there in years, right? Yeah. But when he heard what happened, that was it. Game over, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to fuck these people up now. I'm going to kill every one of them. I'm going to get my grandson back. They tried to kill my son, and all this stuff. So no matter where I've been, no matter how long I've been gone, no matter what I've been doing, I'm stopping everything. And I think Han would be that kind of person. Yeah.
It's funny. There's a similar storyline like that. Did you guys ever see Let Him Go? It was a modern Western that Costner did a few years ago.
Seems like I've heard it. I don't think I ever saw it.
It's so good. Basically, it's set, I want to say, in like the 50s or 60s, and you know, they have a son who dies tragically, and the son's wife and their kid goes back with her family, but her family is like crazy and abusive and just like out in the backwoods, like boofu crazy. And Costner and his wife know what's up, and they're like, we can't have our grandson raised in that environment. So knowing that they're literally going to have to take down this entire family, they go just for the sake of their grandson. Like
Right.
that's Han and Leia's arc to me.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, and we don't see enough of that in films. And by the way, real talk, can I just say that Costner, if he'd have been like an actor in the 50s and 60s, he'd have been one of the greatest Western actors of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm a Yellowstone guy, so I'm kind of pissed at him, but like he's great.
Yeah.
I will be seeing Horizon as soon as I'm able to.
Yeah. It's like somebody said, you know, what's the? Would you say, Xavier? You say you're not supposed to put money in your own project, but like, you know, Kevin Costner, so you let him do what he wants.
Yeah. Kevin Costner's like, look, this movie's not going to come out on time because it's over budget, or like, look, this movie has to come out the way it's written here. We're not making any sacrifices for budgetary reasons. I'll pour money into it to make sure it comes out. Like, okay, now because of that, the movie is now 3 hours long. But you know, even if those movies don't do well in the box office, they still play on TV all the fucking time, and they make a lot of money doing that.
Oh yeah, right.
Waterworld didn't make money, but Waterworld wound up making money because
like,
it's all on TV all the fucking time. Like every other Sunday, fucking USA runs it.
And there's another one. I think Mike, you might have seen it. I think it's called Open Range.
Yeah, I've got Open Range actually. It's great.
Yeah, that's one of my like. As far as for a more modern Western, I remember that being one of my dad's like favorite because he was just such a good, you know, like him and Robert Duvall. It was so good, right? Like
it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, and like Xavier, that's one of, you know, you're talking about like watching different Westerns. That's one I'd recommend. That's a good story of a guy who, like, I don't want to do the bad things. Don't make me do the bad things. They're making me do the bad things. You know, okay,
right.
Remember, you brought this on yourself. You know, I didn't want to do this.
So it's like a modern version of Shane.
Kinda, because he doesn't play around by the fact that he is like he's done bad shit, right? He doesn't try to forget that fact. The whole point is like he keeps telling his boss and everything, I don't want to do these things because I know it's going to happen. It's a bad thing that has to be, you know, that would have to be done. It's a horrible thing. I don't like killing people, but if I have to do it, I will do it. You know. And when I do it, kind of pretty, you know.
It's kind of like how John Wayne plays it in The Shootist. Like at first he hides it, but once it's out, he's like, "Yeah, that's me, but I ain't trying to do that. I'm just trying to like die here peacefully."
Yeah.
But you make the old me come out, it'll come out.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want this, then I guess that's what we're going to get, right? So, and he becomes like a machine, right? You know.
Yep.
That movie, he's just a machine. Like where even to like point, people are trying to, you know, his boss is trying to calm him down. It's like, hey, we ain't here to do that. You know, He said, what do you think that? And then remember, he said, "What do you think this is?"
Yeah,
you know, like give you an example, Xavier. And I'm like, you know, for people who want to, you know, I'm going to spoil a little bit for you, but there was a part where you can, and I think Mike knows what part I'm talking about. It's like him and his boss, who's Robert Duvall. And there's like what 6 or 7 guys, including like the sheriff, and there's this one guy who's a smarmy little bastard. And Kevin Costner says, "Did you kill our friend?" He went, "Yeah, I did." And he's like giggling about it. And then he says something else. Kevin Costner doesn't waste a minute. He pulls his gun out and blows his brains out. Boom, done.
Yep.
There's no drawdown. There's no nothing. Doesn't give him a chance. I was like, that's awesome. And you understand why he did it too. Right?
Exactly.
That is just like I said, Open Range. Get it downloaded.
Yeah. I mean, like anyone listening to this, like Open Range, Let Him Go. Like these are great Kevin Costner films.
Yeah. Like those are great. And then eventually we'll get to you know, Friday Star Wars. We'll get that.
Yeah.
Friday Star Wars,
Clans.
starring the clans. Yeah. I want to like now. I want Clancy Brown, but I want him like as an ancient Jedi, so we kind of make him look like the Kurgan.
Yeah.
You know? Like, oh my God, the Kurgan with a lightsaber.
God.
Holy shit, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And the thing is, like, let that be that'd be just let him be like a brutal Jedi, right? You know, he's still good. Like you said, he's like Xavier said, he's dangling that line. He's right there, you know, but he's gonna fuck some shit up, right?
like when there's an issue, they let him off the chain.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Jedi attack dog kind of thing, right? Like,
Yep.
Goes in and harasses people in the temple. Come on, you know the rules. You're not allowed to fight on holy ground. I know.
So are we satisfied with calling him like just he's Master Zim?
Yes, Master Zim.
I just love the idea that the trick to fixing Star Wars is just put any Clancy Brown character into it.
You got to amalgamate.
It's true though.
Yeah, just amalgamate them all. Like you got you get Zim does with some Kurgan, you know, and I'm sure there's some other characters we can throw in there too, you know.
Right.
Hell, we can even throw in some of his voice work. You know, maybe put a little Luthor in there.
Do you know how much power I'd have to give up to lead the Senate?
See, that's the thing. I can see him like talking to a Sith Lord and say, "You're so short-sighted. Why would you want the entire galaxy?"
Dude, it's crazy because just like dicking around and spitballing, like we've come up with like so much genuinely fun stuff that it just shows that the people actually behind the wheel of this thing aren't interested in producing like quality work.
They want their name attached to something that says Star Wars. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I mean, what's there, Leslie? Like, the only thing she had done before this was documentaries, right? Like,
well, no, that's the chick that's supposed to do the Rey movie.
Okay.
Leslie. Well, she did.
I know she was Harvey's assistant. Yeah.
Yeah. No, she Russian Dolls, right? Like that was. She did a Netflix show, but that's about it, I think.
And then of course putting her, her I guess girlfriend, wife, whatever it is, like putting her in the movie, in the show, even though she's never acted before, and has the charisma of a bar of soap, by the way. Like,
we're gonna start your acting career at a high point. We've just torpedoed your acting career.
Right.
It's like a one-note song, man. I mean, it goes all the way back to like the beginning of like comics and pulp. Like there are people who are contributing to these genres that are just treating it like stepping stones.
Right.
Like the big thing 5 years ago with like your boy always going on about like this is just a glorified Netflix pitch. It's not even that anymore. Like it's the proof of concept to get them in the room to make the Netflix pitch.
Right. Yeah, you don't even need before you needed at least some kind of tangible thing like a book or something. Now it's just like here's a pitch. Give me money.
Right. They buy it because they're afraid to let it go and miss on something.
Yeah,
I check X number of boxes. Give me a job.
Exactly. So I just got a text message, and it's from the boss, and he said we need to get. He says, "quote unquote, get back to work. Quit talking about that Star Trek shit."
Whatever you say, Mr. White.
It's just Harry. Why ain't my printing press working? I
don't know. Did you say stop the presses?
Man. Yeah, right. Yeah. If we didn't have to stop the presses, we could still be pressing. You dummy. Yeah, he said in his text, he's like, "You need to hurry up. I got a really breaking news headline that needs to go out in 2 weeks." So
I'm not gonna lie, I thought we fixed that shit hours ago.
He said something about like he's got horse-drawn carriages to get this one out, guys. So that'd be very.
Pony Express, guaranteed delivery.
Oh man, we can't afford ponies. So I will say thank you everybody for listening. And if you enjoy this more, please think about subscribing and signing up for all the different podcast networks, whichever is your favorite, and check us out. The more views you give us, the better it is, because the quicker we get more views, the more we can actually, Xavier can have that third job to pay him instead of just two. So he's looking forward to that. And look at his face. Look at his poor little face. He's just like, please help me.
Please, sir, I'd like some money.
And once again, thank you, Mike, for joining us. You are always welcome. Like I said, you are as regular can be around here, my friend. I really enjoy. And I'm glad you're doing better, because I was worried when I started seeing your issues. I was like, oh man, please. I was like, he's one of the good ones, please let him. Not just for me, but your family too, because you got a great little family, and But like I said, check us out next time. I think next time we'll be doing your space.
Starside.
For you, Xavier. Starside, yeah. So Starside Reverie will be our next little show, where we probably go somewhere even cooler, because who wants to be stuck in a musty building, with an old printing press? So, but thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you next time, and until then, you'll have a great however long it takes for us to do another show.
Later.
Have a good night.